The trade hub Omega-9 never slept. Thousands of alien species walked its metal streets, eyes glued to screens, hands full of gadgets, voices echoing in dozens of languages. Lights blinked in neon colors. Machines hummed. Ships came and went like bees to a hive. But in one corner of docking sector 17, where shadows fell between giant trash compactors and fuel pipes, a thin alien girl crouched beside a pile of garbage. Her skin was pale blue, almost silver, stretched tight over her bones. Her clothes were ripped cloth and metal wire, barely holding together. She moved like a starving animal, quiet, fast, always watching. The girl dug through garbage with bare hands. Her long fingers shook from cold and hunger. Flies buzzed near her face, but she didn't care. Her eyes bright violet and wide searched for scraps of food. Broken tech, anything to survive. Aliens passed by her without stopping. Some looked at her with disgust. Oh, again? She's still alive? Trash digging in trash, how perfect. Others laughed. Some threw half-eaten food near her, not in kindness, but as mockery. She didn't react. She was used to it. She had no name. No one ever asked, until a voice broke through the noise. Come with me. The words were soft, calm, different. The girl looked up. Slowly, a human stood there. He was tall, wearing a brown jacket and dusty boots. His face looked tired but kind. A scar ran down his cheek, and his eyes, deep green, held no hate, only concern. Come, he said again. It's okay. She backed away, afraid. Humans rarely came to this part of the station. And none ever spoke to her. He didn't step forward. Instead, he crouched low, reached into his pocket, and pulled out a small wrapped bar. Food. Real food. He placed it on the ground and stood up, hands raised. It's yours, no tricks. The girl stared. Her stomach growled. Her hands trembled. She moved slowly, grabbed the bar, and ripped it open with her teeth. She ate it so fast she almost choked. The human watched silently. Then he pulled off his jacket and gently held it out. She froze. Her eyes darted to nearby aliens who now stopped to stare. What's he doing with that thing? She's dirty, probably. Diseased. The human ignored them. The girl took the jacket, hesitantly. It was warm, too big for her, but soft. She wrapped it around herself, eyes never leaving him. My name's Elias, the human said quietly. You got a name? She said. Nothing. Elias nodded. Okay, that's fine. You don't have to talk. But you shouldn't be here. He turned and walked away slowly, not looking back. She watched him go. Her heart pounded. No one had ever spoken to her like that. No one had offered food or warmth. He reached the corner and stopped. He turned around, his voice firm but gentle. You coming? She didn't know why. But she stood up. Her legs were weak, her knees wobbled. But she followed him. Gasps filled the street. A few aliens took vids with their wrist cams, laughing, but she didn't care. Elias led her through a maintenance tunnel, avoiding the main walkways. He didn't speak much. She didn't either. After several minutes, they reached docking bay 94 amperes. Small cargo ship waited, rusty but clean. Elias opened the ramp. You can stay here tonight. I have food, water, and heat. No one will bother you. She stepped in slowly, unsure. Inside, it was simple. A table, 2 chairs, a pilot's seat, and a small sleeping pod. Elias gave her a bottle of water and a protein meal. She ate like she hadn't eaten in days. Maybe weeks. He watched her quietly. Where are you from? He asked. She looked up, then shook her head. What's your species? No answer. Elias sighed and walked to a wall panel. He tapped a few buttons. A soft blue light scanned her body. He frowned. No data? That can't be right. He tried again. The scanner blinked red. Species unknown. Not registered in galactic core. Elias turned to her slowly. That's impossible, he whispered. Everyone's registered. The girl's eyes filled with fear. He realized something. Then something big. She wasn't just some orphan alien. She was off record. Hidden. Erased. Someone didn't want her to exist. Asterisk, the ship's lights were dim, casting soft shadows across the metal walls. The girl sat curled on the floor, hugging the human jacket like it was the only safe thing in the galaxy. She hadn't said a word since Elias brought her in. But her eyes, those deep violet eyes, never stopped watching. Elias sat nearby, running scan after scan. His ship's AI kept returning the same result. Species not recognized. No record in galactic archives. This doesn't make sense. Elias muttered. Everyone has a file. Even blacklisted criminals show up. But her, nothing. He looked over at her. She didn't blink. She didn't move. She was like a ghost. One who had survived things no one should. Elias opened a secure channel and sent a discreet message to a friend, Tana, a tech officer who owed him a favor. Got something weird. Need a deep scan. No questions. While he waited, he brought her a clean blanket and a cup of warm nutrient broth. She took it without a word, but paused before drinking. She sniffed it, then took a cautious sip. Then more. Do you understand me? He asked. She nodded slowly. You speak Galactic Common? She opened her mouth and tried. Little. Her voice was soft, dry, like it hadn't been used in a long time. What should I call you? She blinked. Then whispered, Zara. Elias smiled gently. Zara, that's a nice name. She didn't smile back. Suddenly, the ship lights flickered. Zara flinched and covered her ears, trembling. Hey, it's okay, Elias said quickly, reaching out but not touching her. The lights flickered again, then returned to normal. What was that? He asked the ship's AI. Mild power surge. No damage. Zara stood up fast, her breathing shallow. She stared at the ceiling like something terrible was about to drop through. Elias gently placed his hand on his blaster. Are you running from someone? Zara didn't answer. But her body said yes. Elias took a slow breath. He wasn't a hero. He was just a freighter pilot, doing small cargo jobs no one else wanted. But something about Zara made him feel like walking away wasn't an option. She wasn't just scared. She was hunted. Moments later, his screen pinged. Tana's message appeared. Elias, what the hell did you send me? This DNA isn't just rare. It's impossible. Half the code is blank. The other half is embedded tech markers, genetic implants. Elias stared. Genetic implants? Embedded in DNA? Tana sent one more line. She wasn't born. She was built. His hands went cold. Zara, he said quietly, do you remember where you came from? She looked down, then raised her sleeve. A glowing symbol pulsed just under her skin. Not a tattoo, a small biochip. Live and blinking. Elias stepped closer. What is that? Zara's voice broke. Tracker. His heart dropped. Who's tracking you? She looked up, and this time her voice was stronger. The Collector. Elias stiffened. The Collector. He'd heard that name whispered in criminal networks. Never. On public channels. It wasn't one person. Some said it was a secret organization. Others said it was a single alien who traveled across galaxies buying rare life forms. Collecting them, using them, selling them, and always staying out of sight. No proof. No trace. No survivors. You escaped him? Zara nodded slowly. How? Her lips trembled. He throw me away. Elias blinked. What? She wrapped her arms around herself. He said, I was broken. Elias sat down hard. She wasn't just hunted. She had been discarded like trash. Suddenly, the ship's console lit up again. Alert. Unknown scan detected. Proximity sweep active. Someone is pinging this sector. Damn, Elias said under his breath. Zara backed into the corner, pulling. The blanket tight. He stood quickly and shut off all non-essential systems. Stay here, he whispered. Don't make a sound. He stepped to the pilot's seat and activated manual override. Through the front view, he could see a patrol drone floating near the station, a collector-class probe. Illegal in most systems. It was searching, but not for a ship, for her. Elias slowly reached toward the chip scanner and hesitated. He looked back at Zara. I need to disable that tracker. It's how they're finding you. She nodded. Her small hands pulled her sleeve back and held out her arm. It was a silent act of trust. Elias picked up his laser scalpel and whispered, Hold still. The scalpel made a soft hum as Elias lowered it toward Zara's arm. Her skin shimmered faintly where the tracker pulsed, like it was alive beneath her flesh. Just a surface cut, Elias said, voice calm. You'll be okay. Zara didn't flinch. She didn't even blink. For someone who looked so fragile, she was strangely still, like she had faced worse pain many times before. The blade slid into her skin with a quiet hiss. The moment the scalpel touched the tracker, her body tensed. Ship's lights flickered. Elias froze. Zara? Her head jerked back. Her eyes turned bright like lightning. Trapped in glass. And then she screamed. It wasn't loud, but it was deep. And it vibrated through the ship, through the metal, through Elias's bones. The ship's alarm beeped. Warning. Signal spike detected. Tracking beacon activated. Elias shouted, No. The tracker was defending itself. It wasn't just a tag. It was smart. And now it had pinned her location. Galaxy-wide. Zara collapsed, breathing hard. Her skin burned with light as the symbol on her arm glowed red, then blackened, turning into a scar. Elias grabbed his console. Too late. The transmission had already gone out. They were found. Zara opened her eyes slowly. Her voice was weak. Sorry, Elias shook his head. Not your fault. He sealed the ship's doors and activated stealth mode. But he knew it wouldn't help for long. Someone would come, not station security. Not peacekeepers. The collector's men. He had to move, now but first. He had to understand what he was dealing with. Zara, he said, kneeling beside her. Tell me everything, please. She looked tired, but not a dot. She spoke slowly, using the few words she knew. Taken. Young, many like me, metal walls, no sky, cold. Elias listened carefully. Tests, shocks, make us build. Break things. Sort trash, fix drones. How many were there? She held up both hands, then paused, confused. More, Elias frowned. You said he threw you away? Zara nodded. I stopped working. Arm broke, not heal. He say, useless. Elias felt sick. So he just dumped you here on Omega 9? She nodded again. Garbage place, like home. That word hit him. Hard-home. She had lived in filth so long. She thought trash was normal. But Elias was noticing something else now. Her eyes weren't just bright, they reflected information. Tiny data pulses. When she looked at his engine panel, her pupils adjusted like scanners. She wasn't just some stolen child. She had tech in her. Built in. She had fixed his broken drone earlier without tools. No training. She was learning everything around her. Instantly, he opened a side drawer and pulled out a small diagnostic cube. It was damaged, burned out. He handed it to her. Can you fix this? She looked at it for 3 seconds. Her fingers moved fast, twisting tiny wires, pressing pressure points. In 10 seconds, the cube lit up fully functional. Elias's jaw dropped. Zara. He whispered, you're not broken. You're brilliant. She tilted her head. He continued, they said you were trash. But they were afraid. She didn't understand all the words, but she felt his tone, and for the first time she gave a tiny smile. It lasted only 1 second. Then was gone. Beep. The ship's scanner blinked red. Incoming vessel. Unregistered. No IFF signal. Approach vector. Direct. Elias rushed to the cockpit. The ship outside was sleek, black, silent. It hovered like a shadow, no lights, no name. Zara saw it through the window and gasped. She backed away, whispering, "He here." Elias grabbed his blaster. "Can they track you inside the ship?" She shook her head. "Only Chip, now dead." Then how? Boom. A loud clang shook the ship. They were already trying to breach the hull. Elias ran to the back. "Get to the crawl space." He opened a hidden panel in the floor. Zahra climbed in, heart pounding. He handed her his old cum device. "If I don't come back in 10 minutes, run. Use this to signal help. Just press this button." She stared at it. "You not run?" Elias smirked. "I've been chased by pirates, debt hunters, and one very angry ex. This is just another bad day." She grabbed his sleeve. "You help? Why?" Elias paused. He didn't have a good answer. Maybe it was the way she looked at machines. Maybe it was how everyone called her garbage. But he saw something glowing under the dirt. "I help," he said, "because someone should have helped you a long time ago." Zara blinked. And for the first time, she felt something strange. Hope. The ship's metal floor trembled. Outside, the collector's ship hovered silently, like a spider waiting to strike. Thunk. A second jolt, then a sharp hiss. They were cutting through the hull. Elias pressed the panel closed over Zara's hiding spot and locked it from inside. "Don't make a sound," he whispered through the metal. "No matter what." Then he stood, drew his blaster, and stared at the entry ramp. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't even a fighter. But he was stubborn. And this girl, this half-starved, discarded, brilliant alien child was worth protecting. The ramp door exploded inward. Smoke filled the ship. Shadows moved inside. Figures in black armor entered. They didn't speak. No announcements. No warnings. They weren't here to arrest anyone. They were here to retrieve property. Elias ducked behind the engine core, aimed, and fired once, striking a power line above the invaders. Sparks fell like rain. The lights flickered. Then he ran, not toward Zahra, but away. The soldiers chased him, 3 of them, no emotion. No hesitation. Elias took a sharp turn through the emergency hatch and crawled into a vent chute. He slammed the hatch behind him. The chute dropped him into a narrow service corridor behind the docking bay. His boots slammed against the floor as he ran. His lungs burned. He didn't look back. He didn't need to. They were fast. But not clever. He was clever, and he had a plan. Not far from his dock was an old maintenance tunnel forgotten by most. He had used it once to avoid customs after smuggling engine parts. Now, it would be his lifeline. He reached the entrance, pulled the panel loose, and slid inside. Darkness swallowed him. The smell of oil, metal, and heat filled his nose. The tunnel was narrow. The walls hummed with old energy cables. Most people would never dare enter it. But Elias wasn't most people. And Zara wasn't just a lost girl. She was something more. Back inside the ship, Zara sat in silence. She heard nothing. No boots. No voices. Only the soft hum of the ship's engine. Then Dash climbed out the trapdoor above her. Rattled. Her body froze. Another clang. Then silence. Suddenly, a sharp metallic finger pierced the hatch. A small drill began carving through the lock. Zara's breath caught in her throat. She looked at the cum Elias gave her. Her thumb hovered over the emergency button, but she didn't press it. She closed her eyes instead and listened. Somewhere in her mind, something strange awakened. She felt the hum of the ship, the buzz of power lines, the motion of the intruder above her. And then something else. An access code that she didn't know how. But it was there, floating in her thoughts. She reached behind her into the narrow space. Her fingers found a hidden wire. A memory not hers whispered, red to blue, yellow to black, Override System 3. Her fingers moved. Click. The ship's AI spoke softly through the panel. Manual lockdown disengaged. Releasing backup route. Maintenance shaft 9. A hatch below her feet slid open. Zara dropped into the darkness. No lights, no noise. Just her breath and the sound of boots above. She crawled through the shaft like a ghost. No fear. Only instinct. She followed pipes, touched walls that vibrated, turned corners as if guided. Then, a light ahead, soft and blue. A hand reached out. Elias. He pulled her out and shut the hatch behind her. They were inside the underbelly of the station. Now, forgotten halls, pipes that groaned like old creatures. A place no scanner reached. You found your way here? Elias asked, breathing hard. She nodded. You really are full of surprises. Zara looked around. Where now? Elias checked. A small map on his wristpad. There's an old shuttle bay near the end of this tunnel. Not used in years. If we're lucky, one of the scrap ships still has fuel. Zara followed as he led the way, their feet echoing on wet metal. Suddenly, a light behind them. Too late. Drone hovered in the tunnel's small round, with a red eye blinking. Run! Elias shouted. They sprinted. The drone gave chase, scanning, flashing warnings in a language Zara didn't recognize. Elias fired behind him. Missed. The drone shot a stun blast, narrowly missing Zara's leg. They dove into a side hatch and slammed the door. Breathing hard, locked in, but alive, Zara turned to Elias. You not leave me? He shook his head. Never. She looked at him, confused. Why? Elias wiped sweat from his brow. Because you're not trash, Zara. You're light in the darkness. She blinked. No one had ever said anything like that before. But in that moment, she believed him. They didn't make it to the old shuttle bay. Before they could reach the last tunnel, the floor beneath their feet exploded. Smoke. Flash. Heat. Zahra fell hard, hitting the metal with a cry. Elias turned to help, but something struck him from behind. Darkness. He woke to a cold, white light. His hands were chained above him, a tight collar pressed into his neck. The room smelled like bleach and metal. A voice crackled through hidden speakers. Human, you touched what was not yours. Elias groaned. His head spun. You mean the girl? Silence, then a soft hiss, and the walls became transparent. Through the glass, he saw another chamber. Zara floated inside a large cylinder, surrounded by silver coils and thick wires. She wasn't moving. Let her go. Elias shouted. The voice returned, calm and cruel. She is property, made for labor, born in a factory, not a family. You gave her hope. That was your mistake. Elias pulled against the chains. She's a person. She is a product. The voice said, but she must now be erased. Elias watched in horror as machines around Zara began to spin. Glowing helmet lowered over her head. She remembers too much. The failed ones were supposed to be discarded. But this one escaped. And you, the voice sharpened. You made her remember what she really is. Elias's heart pounded. Please, he whispered. She's not dangerous. But even as he said it, he wasn't sure. Because Zara wasn't like anyone he'd ever met. And maybe, just maybe, she wasn't meant to be. The machines buzzed louder. Inside the cylinder, Zara's fingers twitched. Her eyes moved behind closed lids. Inside her mind, Zara stood in a void, black sky. Empty ground. Then dash flashes. A metal cradle. Robotic hands, pain, sparks, screams, a voice. Prototype 7. A test failed. Another. No emotional response. Terminate and discard. More flashes, years of garbage, cold nights, fear, hunger. And then a pair of green eyes, a voice like warmth. Come with me. Zara opened her eyes inside the cylinder. Her skin glowed. Her breath turned blue. The wires shook. The helmet cracked. The system tried to push. Deeper into her brain. She pushed back. Lights exploded. In the next room, Elias saw sparks fly from the console. System overload. The voice barked. The chains on Elias's wrists loosened. He yanked free, stumbled forward, and slammed his fists on the glass. Zara, wake up! Inside the chamber, she raised her head slowly. Her eyes were no longer violet. They were white-hot, glowing like a dying star, and the glass began to melt. Sirens blared. The facility shook. Guards ran through the hallways shouting in panic. She's active. Contain the asset. Shut it down. But Zara stepped out of the broken cylinder like a flame given form. Her feet touched the floor, and the lights overhead shattered. One by one. Elias grabbed a fallen guard's blaster and ran. To her. She turned to him, confused, blinking fast. I remember, he nodded. I saw, you fought it. She looked down at her hands. They hurt me, broke me, changed me. Not anymore, Elias said. We're getting out. They ran down the hallway, dodging sparks and broken walls. But ahead 6 guards waited with rifles raised. Zara stopped. I can stop them, she whispered. But you won't like it. Elias looked into her glowing eyes. Do what you have to. She stepped forward. The guards shouted warnings. Then Zara raised her hands. Not to fight. To speak. A sound came from her mouth. No language Elias had ever heard, but the walls cracked. The rifles fell, and the guards dropped to their knees, covering their ears, shaking in fear. Elias grabbed her hand. Let's go. They ran past the guards, down into the lower levels. The walls were older here, forgotten, not wired into the main system. Zara finally stopped in front of a heavy, sealed door. Elias caught his breath. Why stop? She pointed at the symbol carved into the metal. It was the same as the scar on her shoulder. This was first place. Before the garbage, before the pain. He touched the door. She placed her hand on the lock. It scanned her palm. Click. The door opened. Inside was a dusty lab, empty, quiet, but on the table was a small, portable shuttle key. Elias stared. Someone left an escape for you. Zara turned to him. No, I left it. Before they wiped me. Elias blinked. You hacked your own memory? She nodded. I knew, one day, I might break free. He smiled. You're full of surprises. She handed him the key. You saved me, she said. Now, I save you. Asterisk. The stolen key hummed softly in Elias's hand. In front of him, the door to the old lab stood wide open, its air stale and untouched for years. Wires hung like vines, rust coated every corner. But in this broken place, something ancient had survived Zara's memory. You really hid this yourself? Elias asked, still stunned. Zara gave a small nod. Her eyes, once soft and uncertain, now glowed steady, calm, and clear. I was scared, but I knew I might find the courage later. Elias looked at her with pride. You found more than courage. Behind them, the alarm sirens faded. Instead, a new sound echoed through the halls. Screams. Cracks of electric discharge, footsteps running. Zara turned sharply. They are rounding up others. The ones like me. What others? She stepped forward, her voice quiet but strong. The failed ones. They were left in the lower levels, locked away, broken. Like I was, Elias frowned. You want to save them. Zara looked at him and said something simple, something full of pain and power. No one saved me, but I will save them. Elias paused only for a moment, then nodded. Lead the way. They moved quickly through the underbelly of the facility, following narrow passages and locked gates Zara had somehow memorized. Her fingers danced across panels, bypassing codes, overriding locks. She wasn't just remembering the place, she was controlling it. Finally, they reached a huge iron vault. Elias stared. That's not a door, That's a wall. Zara raised her hand to the scanner. The system blinked green. The vault hissed open. Inside were rows of pods. Dozens. Maybe more. Each pod held a child. Different skin, different colors, different designs. Some were humanoid, some more alien. But all had the same brand, the same glowing mark on their shoulder. Zara stepped into the center of the room. She spoke a single word. Wake. And the lights inside the pods flickered. One by one, they opened. Children tumbled out, weak, confused, blinking against the light. Some were older than Zara. Some were barely 10. Elias helped steady a small green-skinned boy whose legs couldn't stop shaking. What did they do to these kids? Experiments, Zara whispered. Training, punishment. When they failed, they were stored. Like junk. A girl with silver scales clung to Zara's side. Are you real? She asked in a broken voice. Zara knelt. Yes, you're free now. A voice cut through the room, loud, bitter, angry. You should have stayed broken. The collector stepped into the doorway. He wasn't what Elias expected. No long black cloak. No monster face. Just a clean, well-dressed alien, tall, thin. Sharp eyes like knives. But those eyes held no warmth, only control. Zara stood tall. You used us, she said. The collector smiled coldly. I created you. You are data and bone. Nothing more. You were afraid, she said. Afraid we'd be better. The collector tilted his head. You are mistakes, glitches. You were made to obey. Elias raised his blaster. She's done obeying. The collector snapped his fingers. 2 black drones shot into the room. Guns raised. The children screamed. But Zara didn't move. She simply turned her head and her eyes lit like white fire. Drones paused mid-air. Sparks flew from their cores. And then boom, they exploded. Zara stepped forward. The light around her pulsed. The children followed quiet, watching. You can't control us anymore, she said. The collector's face twitched. You will come back with me, he growled, or all of you will burn. Elias stepped beside Zara. You have no power here. Zara raised her hand, palm forward. The collector tried to speak, but his words died in his throat. His body lifted into the air, weightless, then froze. He gasped, eyes wide, as Zara's voice echoed across the chamber. No more cages. No more wires. No more fear. Just a soft hum rising until the walls cracked, and the power inside Zara filled every wire, every screen, every broken mind. The lights shut off. Total silence. Then the station shook. Alarms screamed. Zahra. Dropped the collector. He hit the ground gasping, alive but powerless. Elias looked around. You shut down the entire base. I gave it back to us, Zara said. The children looked at her like she was light in a dark sky. Come, she told them. There's a way out. They followed her, one by one, through the smoke and flickering lights. Elias helped the younger ones. Zara walked in front, glowing like a star. And in her mind, one word repeated. Free. Smoke trailed from broken ceilings. The station's alarms were dead, now silenced by Zara's will. All that remained was the sound of quiet footsteps and breathing. Zara led the group through the station's underground tunnels. Children behind her, Elias by her side. Each step they took was heavy, but filled with purpose. The collector hadn't followed. He couldn't. His systems were offline, his control gone. His pride shattered. Still, Elias knew others like him would come. In soon. They reached a rusted hatch, one Zara remembered from dreams, or maybe broken memories. She placed her hand on it. Click. The door opened, revealing a hidden hangar, small, dusty, forgotten by time. Inside was an old shuttle, boxy, scratched, but intact. Elias grinned. Not the prettiest, but she fly. Zara scanned the control panel from across the room. She has fuel, she said. Enough for one jump. To where? She looked up. Anywhere but here. The children climbed aboard slowly, many, for the first time seeing stars through the open sky shield. Their eyes widened. They whispered in awe. One girl touched the ship's cold metal and smiled. Elias checked the controls. "Zara, we're ready." But Zara didn't move. She stood. At the edge of the hangar, eyes locked on the broken base behind them, Elias noticed. "Something wrong?" She spoke softly. "He will build again. If not me, someone else. Another child. Another cage." Elias was quiet. Then he asked, "What do you want to do?" Zara looked at her hands. The power in them still pulsed faint, but alive. Her body hummed with energy. Not just electricity, but knowledge, emotion, memory. She had been built like a machine, but she felt like a person, and she was done hiding. "I want to make sure no one forgets us," she said. Elias nodded. "Then we make them remember." Zara closed her eyes. The ground trembled. Back in the heart of the facility, forgotten systems came alive. Screens across the galaxies black. Market lit up with files never meant to be seen. Names, videos, blueprints, evidence, all of it. The collector's secrets, his crimes, his whole network unlocked. One message played everywhere. We were made to be slaves, but we are alive. And we remember everything. Zara opened her eyes. She turned toward the ship. She didn't run this time. She walked. With her head high. The shuttle lifted into the sky. Inside, Elias set the course. Zara stood beside him, wrapped in the same jacket he'd given her the day they met. It still hung loosely around her shoulders, but now she wore it like armor. He looked over at her. "You okay?" She nodded. "What happens now?" Elias smiled. "Now we start over." "Where?" "Anywhere we want." She watched the stars ahead, endless, glowing. Then she asked, "Why did you help me?" Elias chuckled. "Still asking that, huh?" She waited. He leaned back in the pilot's chair. "Because when I saw you in that trash pile, I didn't see trash. I saw someone who hadn't been given a chance." He turned to her, "And I wanted to be the one who gave it." Zara didn't speak. Instead, she stepped closer and gently leaned her head on his shoulder. For the first time in her life, she felt warm. Not from a heater, not from sunlight. But from something simple. Kindness. The shuttle jumped into hyperspace, leaving the broken world behind. But Zara wasn't leaving empty. She had a name. Now. She had people behind her. And she had something far more powerful than wires or codes. She had a future. Across the galaxy, the name Zara was whispered in the dark, not in fear, but in hope. The rescued children, now safe, began building their own world, where no one was sold, thrown away, or silenced. And at the heart of it all stood a girl, once found in the trash, and a human who believed she was worth saving.